Today I have swatches of Barielle's Gentle Breeze collection, and this is their Spring 2015 collection. So the collection consists of two creams, one that it's not really a cream, not really, I don't know, it's just really sheer. I think it's supposed to be a cream, but it's not quite there. And then two that are kind of shimmery, frosty, pearly finish. The first polish is called Heaven Scent, and this is just a standard pastel blue cream. So here is one coat of Heaven Scent. And this one has a nice smooth formula, and it seems to be pretty opaque just in the first coat so far. It is just a little bit streaky, which is typical for pastels, but it doesn't have that typical pastel chalky feel to it. The formula of this one, it's not too thick, it's not too thin. It is easy to spread out over the nail. So there is one coat. Here is a second coat of Heaven Scent. This one does dry pretty quickly. I didn't have to wait more than a couple of minutes before coming in to do the second coat. And two coats does make this one fully opaque. It hides all of the streaks from the first coat. And so there is two coats of Heaven Scent. The second polish is called Under the Sea, and this one is a sort of medium dark teal with silver shimmer, and it almost has a pearly look to it. Here is one coat of Under the Sea. This one is pretty sheer on the first coat, but you do already get a lot of that shimmer from the polish. The coverage, it isn't too bad. It's just really streaky on the first coat. But it will definitely need a second and possibly third. So there is one coat of Under the Sea. Here is two coats of Under the Sea. This one definitely will need a third coat. The second really doesn't add much more to it. And it's still pretty streaky on the second coat. But there is two coats of Under the Sea. Here is three coats of Under the Sea. A third coat does make this one fully opaque, but because there is such a heavy shimmer to it, the third coat is still just a little bit streaky. You could try sponging on the third coat to help eliminate that streaking, or just make sure your brush strokes are nice and straight. And there is three coats of Under the Sea. The next polish is a sort of tan beige, and it's actually coming off a lot more brown on camera. It's a little more, I don't know, kind of peachy in person. And this one is called Champagne Bubbles. Here is one coat of Champagne Bubbles. This one is very sheer. And it does have a very yellow tone to it. I'm not sure if I will be able to build this one up to opacity, but I will try. I mean, it's nice and smooth, and it's not extremely streaky or anything like that, but it is barely opaque. And so here is 2 coats of Champagne Bubbles. The second coat does add a little bit more color to the nail, but it does also make it look quite a bit more streaky than it did on the first coat. It's still not very opaque. It will definitely need a 3rd and possibly 4th coat. But so far I do kind of like the color of this one. It's almost a caramely color. So there is 2 coats of Champagne Bubbles. Here is 3 coats of Champagne Bubbles. It's still not completely opaque on a 3rd coat, but it is a little less streaky. The formula is pretty thin, and it tends to run and pool. And as I did there, it's very easy to flood your cuticles with this one. So there is 3 coats of Champagne Bubbles. Here is 4 coats of Champagne Bubbles. The 4th coat still just barely makes it opaque. I mean, I can still see a few little bald spots where I can, like some dark spots in various places where I can still see my nail a little bit through the polish. So, I don't know about this one. I mean, I'm not interested in having to do 5 coats for a nude or beige or, you know, this sort of color. But, I don't know. I mean, it's not bad. But there is 4 coats of Champagne Bubbles. I really probably should do a 5th, but I'm not going to. The next polish is called Pink Parasol, and this one is just a standard pastel pink. And it's also a cream formula. So here is 1 coat of Pink Parasol. This one is fairly sheer for the first coat. It's just a little bit streaky, but the formula is not chalky like a lot of pastels are. And the formula is very smooth and easy to apply. It's not too thick or too thin. It's not wanting to run all over the place or pull up on the sides or in my cuticles. So there is 2 coats of Pink Parasol. This one is a lot like that first blue Heaven scent was. It dries fairly quickly. Unlike the blue, that one was opaque in 2 coats. This one will need a 3rd, but that second coat does brighten up the color and hide a lot of the streaks from the first coat. I ran out of space on my memory card during the second coat, but here is the 3rd of Pink Parasol. This is just a really pretty sort of bubblegum pink. The 3rd coat covers completely, and hides all of the streakiness from the first and second coat. So there is 3 coats of pink Parasol. The final polish is another one with that almost pearly or frosty finish. It's got a ton of silver shimmer and it's gray. This one is called Gray Sky. Here is 1 coat of Gray Sky. This one is very thin, a lot like the teal one was, and it wants to sort of pool up on the sides of my nails. This one comes off very silver. It's got a lot of that shimmer in it, and it is very sort of frosty. It isn't too sheer on the first coat like that teal one was. It's a little more opaque. But I'm not really sure if I like the finish of this one. I'm not a big fan of pearly finishes. Here is 2 coats of Gray Sky. This one you can see the brush strokes really well just because it's got so much of that shimmer in it. You could sponge it on, you know, to try and eliminate some of those brush strokes. But this one is fully opaque in 2 coats. But again, it is very thin. My memory card's running low, so I'm trying to hurry, and it's just pooling all over the place. So you do have to be careful of that with this one. But there is 2 coats. And that is it for the entire Spring 2015 Barielle collection. Thanks for watching.